Hey guys, there's a rumor on the street. If you like and subscribe to this channel, your average fish will be 30% bigger than it was before. Now I can neither confirm or deny this, but why take the risk? Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button.
Alright guys, the first thing you want to do is remove these 3 screws, okay? Super easy, they shouldn't be on very tight. Just need you a small flathead or Phillips. Once you remove the 3 screws, slide your end cap off, and now your spool will slide out. The next step is come over to the other side, your reel handle side, and it's got 3 screws on it. They're crown screws. You're going to want to loosen these up. Mine probably aren't very tight. I've had my reels apart and cleaned many times. I like to leave mine loose anyway. That way if I'm on the lake, I don't need a screwdriver if something happens. I can open it up right on the lake easily. And now you got your reel apart. Your spool shaft will pull out as well. Got your cage. This one here is pretty filthy. Before we go any farther, you're going to need a bigger flathead. You're going to want to remove the cap to your line pawl. Alright, and sometimes that pawl gets stuck in there a little bit. You might have to move it around and it'll drop out. Now you've got a little clip right here. You just slide it forward and lift it up. Comes right off. Worm gear comes out. It all just comes apart now. I like to take the thumb stop off as well so I can clean it up real nice. So guys, this thing is filthy. The next step will be to get you a bowl of soapy water and a toothbrush. And get your toothbrush wet. Put your little soap on there. Take your cage. Get it wet. And just start scrubbing on this bad boy. It'll make it look brand new. Once you have it cleaned up real good, then all you're going to do is take it in your kitchen sink or bathroom sink and just rinse it off, and then you'll dry it. And like I said, it'll look brand new. You got your chrome that you want to mess with here. Gets a lot of stuff caked on it. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get this looking good. I'll rinse it, come back and dry it, and show you the result. Alright guys, I don't know if you can tell now, but look at the chrome on that. It looks brand new now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little thumb rest. You can see how dirty that is. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing to it. Get in all the grooves really good. And we're going to go rinse it off and then dry it and it'll look brand new as well. So here's all the pieces we took off that we're going to put in the ultrasonic cleaner. You've got your pawl, you've got your spool shaft, all your worm gear stuff, your line guide, the little clip, the little cap that screws over the line pawl. And then we're also going to need, grab your spool over here. And I like to put the plastic gear in there, it just pops right off. We're also going to take the brakes off. Just use a screwdriver, pop them right off there. We're going to toss those in the ultrasonic cleaner. Now's a good time to go ahead and remove your bearings as well. And when I took the one out, probably couldn't really see it, but it actually has a washer that goes to it. And we'll show you how to clean these up now. As you can tell, what I'm using is a Harbor Freight ultrasonic cleaner. This one also has heat that you can turn on. I've had mine for, I don't know, probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. These things are super handy. I would definitely recommend getting one, especially for cleaning reels. And what we're going to do is take all the parts that we had on that plate, and we're just going to dump them right in there. I'm just using soapy water. And the reason being, I don't have any grease on mine from where I've cleaned them before. I used oil. So I don't really need anything like Simple Green. But if yours are factory or you like to use grease, I would go ahead and put a little bit of Simple Green in there with it. It'll help break the grease down. And what I'm going to do, I've got the heat on already. That's what the red light is for. I'm going to set it for 480 seconds. And then we're going to turn it on. Get it working. And when that's done, I'll come back and show you what I do. Alright, as you can tell, they're done. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig in here and find them. And then we'll do the same thing we did with the other parts. We'll use a bowl full of water, a little toothbrush, just to kind of go over it by hand. And then we'll rinse them off and dry them, and they'll be ready to put back together after we oil them up. We'll go ahead and just give them a quick run over with the brush and lay them to the side. Same way with your brakes. To make sure I get them nice and clean. Got your clip. This piece here has a little bushing in it. I always pop it out. Get your little idler gear there. Worm gear, get it nice and clean. Little plastic bushing. And now we're going to go ahead and rinse these off under the sink and dry them off. Alright, we've got those all rinsed off and dried, and we got them setting to the side. And now I'm going to show you what I do. I modded my cogwheel on my reel, which just means I cut the little plastic edge off so it would come on and off. And I used a little E-clip to hold it on. These E-clips are like $1 from Abu Garcia. So yours, you're not going to be able to remove it on yours particularly. But basically you just pop that clip off. And once you do that, for me, my cogwheel will slide off. I also, since I put a little bit of grease on my cogwheels, what I'll do is I'll take off the tension knob as well. And then drop the little brass bushing out, and we'll clean this up really good. For you guys, since you can't remove your cogwheel, you'll just want to use a Q-tip and a paper towel and work around it as best you can. You can still take out the bushing and clean that out, and then put a little oil on the bushing as well. The fastest way to do this for me is I just get a Q-tip. Clean inside of there really good. You know, make sure that's nice and spotless. And then I'll clean around the edges. And then you can just take the grease off. And then use your rag to finish it out. Microfiber towel works really well. So now you can see in there, that's nice and clean. Where the bushing goes is nice and clean. And then we'll take the bushing itself and we'll scrub it in the bowl of soapy water. Get all that grease off of it. Set it to the side. And now I'm going to take my cogwheel. See, it's got a little bit of grease on it. Do the same thing. Grease will stain it, so you'll never get it to where it looks brand new again. Whatever color grease you put on it, you'll always see that. And we'll go rinse that off and dry it off, and then we'll start putting it back together. All right, to put it back together, I like to take some oil, and I'll put just a little bit on that shaft. And then I'll take my fingers, kind of rub it around it, make sure it's thoroughly lubricated. Nobody likes it dry, you know what I mean? And you can just slide your cogwheel back on there. Put the clip on it, and that's pretty simple as well. Get it in good position, and then take your screwdriver, use your fingers, so that way it doesn't pop up on you. Once that pops on, this thing will really spin now. It's flying. So now you can drop your bushing back in, and it'll just set in there up against your cogwheel. But before you put it in, I actually like to take and put just a little bit of oil on that as well. Put a drop on the front. And I just kind of rub it around it. Drop it back in. Put your tension knob back on. And now you got that part done. Next thing I like to do, I like to wipe inside the edges here. Make sure that's nice and clean. And then I'll take a Q-tip and run it around the drum where your brakes touch. Make sure that's nice and clean. You get some black stuff on there, now you know it's clean. And then go ahead and put your shaft back in it. Let's push it till it clicks. And you can set that aside now. Alright, we're going to start doing a little bit of assembly now. We're going to go ahead and put some oil on our worm gear. I use the lightning lube. And how I do this is I put it on one big line across there, and then I've got a a brush, I'll kind of spread it out, and then I'll rotate it about a half a turn in my hand and do the same thing. Don't overdo it, but you do want to make sure you got plenty of oil on there. And once you've done that, this is the side that it goes in. Go ahead and slide it in there. Now you've got that plastic bushing, all right? And the nipple will face out. So that's what you're going to be left with. Once you've got that put back together, you're going to want to start putting it back together over here on your cage. So you're going to need your line guide. You'll slide that over, and then you're going to make sure that it's seated into the groove at the top. And now you can just kind of play with it till that slides into the other side of the cage, and then kind of hold it with your finger. We're going to come over here and grab the clip. The clip is very easy. Like so. Then you're going to grab your lined pawl. Put you one little drop of oil on that. And flip your cage upside down. And drop it in. And then just move it around till it seats itself. As you can tell, that's seated. It's functioning properly. Now you're going to take your little cap and just screw it back on. Get it hand tight, and then get it to a position where you can put just a little bit of leverage on it. You don't want to overdo it and strip it. So now you got that part put back together. So you're good to go on that. And what I like to do is I'll add just a little bit of oil to this brass gear. And now we can set that to the side. Now grab your spool, take a Q-tip, and just clean inside your spool a little bit. And that's ready to go now. What we're going to use for the bearings is going to be some lighter fluid. Just get you a little cap or something. Put you a couple little squirts in there. Take your bearing, drop it in. And you can use your spool shaft to spin it on. And this bearing is flying. For a stock bearing, that's spinning really well. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to the side. Toss my other one in there. Doesn't need to set very long. And we'll do the same thing. Just give it a few spins. It'll work it in, clean it out. And this one's spinning really good as well. So we're good to go on the bearings. While the bearings are airing out, we'll go ahead and grab our cage. The reel handle side. For me, it's going to be on the right hand side. Go ahead and slide it together. Tighten up your crown screws. I go hand tight on these. So you don't want to have them too tight where you, if you're on the lake and something happens that you need a screwdriver. So I'll go about hand tight on those. And we'll go ahead and set it out of the way. And now we can start putting the bearings in. So this is going to be the side with your little idler plastic gear. Just drop your bearing in. Got our plastic gear. This is going to pop into place. And just push till you hear it pop. I don't know if you heard it or not. There, you could hear it that time. So just push it in till it pops. And on the other side, there's a little washer that was attached to the bearing. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off just in case there's any dirt or anything on it. So we'll clean it up a little bit. And then we'll drop it in. And it always flips around on you, so you'll need a screwdriver just to make it set in there correctly. Toss your bearing in, like so. Now you've got your brakes. Go ahead and put them back on. They literally just snap right back into place, like so. And make sure none of these are fully extended. That way when you put it on, you won't have a problem. But I have 3 brakes turned on right this second. See how I only have 3 that'll slide up and down? That's how many I'm using. Slide it back on. As you can tell, it's on there correctly. Alright, before final assembly, I'm going to take a little bit of pin grease and a different brush. Doesn't take a lot of grease. I'm going to put it on the cogwheel. See if you can see that or not. Don't need much. I'm going to go real thin. And if you wanted to, you could put grease on your on your worm gear as well instead of doing the oil. Me personally, I like using the oil. I think it makes it reel a little bit smoother. I also think it casts a little bit farther. But once you've got it all greased up like that with a real thin coat, now you can go ahead and put it back together. So you can just grab your reel and slide your side plate on there. Put your 3 screws in. And as far as these screws go, kind of the same way. I don't get them too tight. That way I know I'm not going to have a problem. You don't want them loose where they're going to fall out on you, but you don't want to over tighten them. And now, as you can tell, the side plates are really dirty. I'm going to show you how to clean those up. We're going to clean the handle up, see how it's got all kinds of dried up garbage on there. I'm going to show you how to do that next. So we got all that dried up garbage on the reel handle. So we're going to go back to that soapy bowl of water we got. Get our brush. Get our toothbrush wet. This is the easiest way I've found. And use that toothbrush to just kind of work it off that rubber. Kind of spin it around. And then after you're done, you can use your microfiber towel to dry it with. And if you see that you missed a spot, just hit it again. For this next part, You want to protect the outside and clean it up as well. As you can tell, though, we did get those knobs looking really good. But what we're going to do is grab some automotive spray wax. Got us a bottle of spray wax here. Use whatever kind you want. And we're just going to soak this bad boy. Put you a towel down so you don't get it all over the house. We're going to get it nice and clean here, guys. And now, let it set for a minute to loosen up any dirt. But you want to use a nice, soft microfiber towel, because you don't want to add any scratches to your reel. At least I don't. So, now you can start wiping the wax off. And we'll come back and show you what it looks like after we get all the wax wiped off. Alright, we got all the wax wiped off. And as you can tell, she's spotless now. No scratches. I keep my reels in really good shape. The only reason they were dirty, I think the last time I fished it rained or something, and that's why they looked like that. But I keep them in really good shape, keep reel covers on them. I like to keep my stuff looking brand new. And we'll show you how smooth the reel is. Like I said, that's just so smooth. Using the oil instead of the grease, I mean, to me that makes a huge difference as well. Hopefully we helped you out in some shape or form. If you would, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button.